I've been a gun owner all my adult life. You know, for better or worse, in our country, people have a right to have a gun for self-defense. Well, I first joined the National Rifle Association because I felt like, well, here's an organization that kind of protects my interest as a gun owner. But they're really starting to promote a culture of fear. You know, you need these guns for like really basically two reasons: overreaching government, tyranny, and fear of the other. You need to carry a gun with you at all times to defend yourself and your family. And actually, you're not a man if you don't. And at times I would like reach out as a member of the NRA and say, like, you know, if you let everybody have access to guns and we can see what's happening, you know, felons getting guns, terrorists getting guns, domestic abusers having guns, it makes it hard for the legitimate gun owner. I would make phone calls, you know, I want to express this opinion. You just get no response. You know, the NRA at this point is just really more interested in protecting the gun industry and the profits of the industry. I didn't really want to belong to an organization where I no longer agreed with their positions, and at the same time, had no interest in my say. People will say guns don't kill, it's people that kill. But try committing a mass shooting without a gun. We can choose to live a different way, and I'm willing to work to change that culture. If you want your kid going to an event that you know is going to be well run and chaperoned, and like you know your kid's going to be safe there, you send them to the Boys and Girls Club. I mean, what could be better? There had been a dispute between some guys. So one of the group committed a burglary and were able to get their hands on an AK-47. Drove by as this dance is letting out at the Boys and Girls Club, rolled down the window, and they just started shooting with the assault rifle. And 7 people are lost, including her son.
JR left home. He had just recently gotten a second job. He had been working 2 jobs. And he left home that evening. He attended a basketball game. I got a call about 11 that he had been shot. And the gun that was used on my son, there were 2 guns alleged to be involved. One was a .45 handgun, and the other one was an AK-47.
An assault rifle.
An assault rifle, and my child was shot with the assault rifle.
And I know you're getting involved politically, you know, to stand up and try to see some change and bring about gun regulation, common sense gun control to this country.
I felt like, if anything, I was going to do something not only to honor him in his death, but to be instrumental in bringing about change.
It's that unique nature of a military type assault rifle that allows that kind of shooting to occur, where you can go by in a matter of seconds, wipe out a large number of people. Would a ban on assault rifles have prevented something like that? These people stole that weapon because they knew that this guy owned an assault rifle, and they broke in and stole his assault rifle. Can you have armed guards at the door? There was an armed guard at the door of the Pulse in Orlando. We don't live in vacuums. We don't get to do whatever we want, whenever we want. I mean, we're taught that as children. That to me is, in a sense, is the child argument. You know, the mature argument is but what I'm doing have any harm to society? There's people I know that work at some of the local gun shops here. I'll engage in conversations, try to promote, you know, what we're doing, and try to get people to understand.
We have shotguns, rifles, pistols. We never really sold a lot of the AR-type rifles, but we had them. Customers would buy them.
And people lump them together all the same, but they all serve different purposes.
You know, firearms, if you really want to look at it, the Constitution is written, and although not everybody believes it, but it is written as a protection from tyranny, from our government or other governments. And a limit of how many rounds you can put in a magazine or the type of firearm that you buy because of the way it looks, I think it flies right in the face of the Second Amendment. I think more of what people worry about currently right now is going to be civil unrest. And I think people are more worried on that circumstance than the tyranny of the government. That's what's going to happen, tell you
Yeah,
the
but
truth. I think something else is going to,
but
either the government will completely falter and collapse.
But the NRA pushes that. I mean, the NRA constantly is saying, like, look, we need this to hold the government accountable.
No, I think they hold true to the premise that I said, and that is, I believe the Second Amendment is the right of the people to keep and bear arms for protection from all governments, foreign governments or our own government. And our own is included in it because governments become extreme. Throughout the world history, governments have become extreme.
If you want to change things, you can make great social changes in America through our political process. But using violence to change our government is kind of unacceptable. I've had a few guys that I've worked with who used to have good conversations, would get together, and when I started talking about some of these things, just cut it right off. When I've seen them out, I've had one just like turn his back. They just like their guns that much. The NRA's changed its positions many times. The NRA was for universal background checks. The NRA at one time was for universal registration.
The way I look at the NRA,
all that changed.
Is it's like somebody stepping up in your face, and then you back up a little bit. And they step up further, and you back up a little bit. And they step up further. And that's what incremental gun control has been. And at a certain point, you say to yourself, this is the line in the sand. We got enough laws now. We don't want any more. Control criminals before you control guns.
That community of gun owners sees gun control as a violation of their civil rights. People like you and I that are pushing for legislation that we're somehow violating their civil rights.
People that are set with those kind of ideas, far too often what you find is they don't really care anyway until it hits their doorsteps. My child's civil rights were taken away that night. I refused to accept the fact that someone could take my child as violently as he was taken. But it didn't make a difference to these people who were running around talking about their right, their Second Amendment right. But God was merciful to me. JR is gone. But I saw my child, and I was able to look upon him, to touch him, and to kiss him for the last time. That was a gift. It's all about money. And the sooner people get that and just open up their hearts and can have compassion for each other, the better.
The personal commitment on my part comes from what I've seen. I've traveled throughout the state. I lobby. The majority of gun owners want universal background checks. But if they think nobody else agrees with them, they're not going to say anything. I like guns, but really, in the end, what kind of world do you want to live in? Do we really want to live in a world where everyone has to carry a gun and everybody's afraid of everybody else because they might have a gun? Or do we want to live in a world where we can feel safe without having a gun? And the way we're going to get there is to make sure that people that shouldn't have guns don't have them, and that the guns they have are the kind of guns that we can use for sport, defense, or enjoyment without feeling that we're going to war every time we go out. My name is Gary, and I am Moral Courage.